I think most of us can agree that the best games to watch are the ones that are the closest. The ones that come down to a single play, a single action, with endings that are nothing short of cinematic. The kind of games that have you jumping out of your seat, whether in excitement or in rage. Those are the kind of conclusions that we're talking about today.
It's going to get there. He turned 32 yesterday. Does he have a vintage moment in him? In the end zone, it is caught!
Few things in life are as dramatic and full of theater as an NFL game that comes down to the very final play. Not a kneel down or garbage time play, but an actual jaw-dropping moment that transpires as the clock hits zero. Again, we're looking only at plays that were the final play of the game, meaning that they ended with zeros on the clock, or in some cases, they ended a game in overtime. So that means notable plays like the Music City Miracle, Immaculate reception, and Malcolm Butler's Super Bowl sealing interception didn't make the list, because there is still time left on the clock after those plays happened. But now that that's all cleared up, let's get into our 12 craziest final plays to end a game. Miracle at the new MEADOWLANDS. 32 years after the Philadelphia Eagles pulled off a miraculous win at the old MEADOWLANDS, they found a way to stun the New York Giants once again. The Eagles and Giants squared off in a pivotal Week 15 2010 game at the new MEADOWLANDS Stadium, or what you know now as MetLife Stadium. The Giants held a 21-point lead over Michael Vick and the visiting Eagles in the fourth quarter, but the 2010 Comeback Player of the Year roared his team to an epic comeback, and the game was tied 31 apiece late in the final frame. Philly's defense forced a Giants punt, so New York sent out rookie punter Matt Dodge with 14 seconds left. And the rest, as they say, is history. Deshaun Jackson's miracle play was the season-defining moment that helped Philly eventually clinch the division, while the Giants missed out on the playoffs altogether. To this day, it's perhaps the most epic and unforgettable moment in this historic rivalry. Minneapolis Miracle. The Minnesota Vikings didn't have much of a chance here. They were at their own 39-yard line, 10 seconds remaining, and no timeouts left to help them get into field goal range. They simply had to find a magical way to get a big completion. Otherwise, it'd be the New Orleans Saints visiting the Philadelphia Eagles in the 2017 NFC Championship game. It looks like Minnie was bound for yet another gut-wrenching postseason loss. But then, it happened. Vikings quarterback Case Keenum took the snap and threw a pass down the sideline to Stephon Diggs. New Orleans rookie safety Marcus Williams failed to make the tackle, instead ducking underneath Diggs, who took the ball to the house for the win. I guess after all those years of brutal playoff losses, the Vikings were due for a miracle win of their own. 1 yard short. Seattle Seahawks fans shouldn't be too sad. They're not the only ones who are within a yard of potentially winning the Super Bowl. The first team to endure that heartbreaking experience was the Tennessee Titans, who squared off against Kurt Warner's St. Louis Rams in Super Bowl 34. Warner's 73-yard strike to Isaac Bruce gave the Rams a 23-16 lead with less than 2 minutes to go. Titans quarterback Steve McNair engineered a surgical drive, moving his group down to the Rams' 10-yard line with 6 seconds left. Then, on the final play of the game, McNair hit Kevin Dyson on a slant, but linebacker Mike Jones managed to tackle him 1 yard shy of the end zone to clinch the Rams' first ever Super Bowl victory. River City Relay. The Saints needed a victory over the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 16 of the 2003 season to keep their small playoff hopes alive. They're also the only entry on this list to have performed a miracle play and yet somehow not come out victorious. The Saints were trailing the Jacksonville Jaguars by a touchdown with only 7 seconds remaining on the game block. Obviously, they were out of range of a Hail Mary attempt, so it was lateral or nothing. Aaron Brooks took the snap and completed a pass to Dante Stallworth, who got the lateral going by flipping it to Michael Lewis. Deuce McAllister then took the ball and threw it across the field to Jerome Pathan, who sprinted to the end zone for 6. A miracle play and all. The only problem was that the River City Relay just led to an even more heartbreaking loss for the visitors, as John Carney missed the extra point, which, by the way, was practically a gimme back in those days. If it's any consolation, the Saints' victory here wouldn't have mattered anyway. They finished the season 8-8, and the Seahawks and Dallas Cowboys took the wild card spots with identical 10-6 records. The Cardinals walk-off strip sack on Aaron Rodgers. The Green Bay Packers and Arizona Cardinals met in the 2009 NFC wildcard round. Needless to say, this turned out to be, hands down, one of the greatest NFL games ever played. If you hate defense and love a lot of scoring, this was your game. Aaron Rodgers, in his second year as a starter, went toe-to-toe with future Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. They combined for 59 completions, 802 passing yards, and 9 touchdowns in this tilt. But the difference turned out to be this. Warner didn't give up a strip sack, Rodgers did. And it came at the worst possible time. Facing a pivotal 3rd and 5 situation in overtime, Rodgers took the snap and was sacked by Michael Adams, losing the football in the process. It was picked up by Carlos Dansby, who took it to the house for a walk-off victory. You don't see a lot of games end with a walk-off touchdown, especially on a defensive fumble recovery, in overtime, in a playoff game. It was only fitting that a never-before-seen wildcard classic like this would feature an ending that we can only describe as bonkers. Justin Tucker's record-setting field goal sinks Lions. The Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker just loves playing in Detroit. Too bad the Ravens only make the trip there once every 7 years. You may recall the Ravens' visit to Detroit back in 2013, a Week 15 Monday Nighter that carried playoff implications for both teams. Tucker booted a go-ahead 61-yarder with 38 seconds left in the game. And the Baltimore defense held on for a W that ultimately helped end the Lions' playoff hopes. It was only fitting that the next Ravens visit to Ford Field, a Week 3 2021 afternoon showdown, would once again come down to a Tucker field goal attempt at 60-plus yards. This one, a 66-yarder for a new NFL record, needed a bit of luck to bounce through. And that came moments after the Lions allowed Lamar Jackson to complete a 4th and 19 pass to Sammy Watkins. Poor Lions fans, they can never have nice things. Nate Poole's heroics and Vikings playoff hopes. You know what we said earlier about the Vikings always enduring brutal losses? Well, few were tougher to stomach than the stunning collapse they experienced against the lowly Cardinals in Week 17 of the 2003 season. Minnesota needed a win or a Green Bay Packers loss to clinch the NFC North. But Brett Favre and company easily took care of business against the Denver Broncos, meaning their playoff hopes were in the hands of the 3-win Cardinals, who, by the way, had both the lowest scoring offense and the worst scoring defense that season. But because it's the Vikings, they somehow found a way to let Arizona stick around. A 17-6 mini lead was cut down to 5, and it eventually all came down to a 4th and 24 play for Arizona from the Minnesota 28. After taking the snap, Josh McCown scrambled to the right and threw a dime to Nate Poole, who was facing double coverage in the back of the end zone. You just knew how this would end. So, it was Favre and the Packers who came away with the 2003 NFC North crown. And the Vikings' once promising season ended in, well, typical Vikings fashion. What more can we say? Miracle in MOTOWN. The Packers and Lions met on Thursday Night Football in Week 13 of the 2015 season. Detroit, having upset Green Bay at Lambeau Field earlier in the year, was looking to complete the season series sweep of the NFC North rivals for the first time since 1991. Things were looking good for the Lions, to say the least. Up 23-21, they melted valuable clock time and punted the ball back to the Pack with 23 ticks remaining. Green Bay was backed up at their own 21 without any timeouts. With 6 seconds left, the Packers could only attempt a lateral, but Devin Taylor was flagged for a face mask on Aaron Rodgers as time expired. The controversial call gave Green Bay one last opportunity, and, well, unfortunately for Lions fans, they know all too well what happens when you give Rodgers a second chance. Yep, just a typical heartbreaking loss for the Lions, and another magical Aaron Rodgers moment. That would be the first of 2 Hail Marys for A-Rod on the season. Miami Miracle. The Miami Dolphins were trying to keep their slim playoff hopes alive against the NFC East rival New England Patriots in Week 14 of the 2018 season. But they were facing 1 in a million odds of pulling it off. New England led 33-28 with only 7 seconds remaining, and the Finns were stuck at their own 31-yard line. Not even in range for a Hail Mary, they simply had to try a lateral play. Bill Belichick made the fateful decision of having tight end Rob Gronkowski play at the back of the end zone in case Miami tried a deep shot. But that decision proved to be a costly one. Ryan Tannehill found Kenny Stills just short of midfield. The Dolphins then performed a series of laterals. And after making it through the rest of the Pats defense, it came down to Gronk having to tackle running back Kenyon Drake. And, well, we all know what happened next. A very un-Patriots-like mistake to say the least. But they went on to win Super Bowl 53 anyway. And the Dolphins, well, at least they got to celebrate an unforgettable miracle despite missing out on the playoffs anyway. Inaccurate reception. You know a play is controversial when it has a trio of nicknames: the inaccurate reception, Fail Mary, or inter-touchdown reception. Call it whatever you want. This will always stand out as one of the most infamous and unforgettable endings in league history. The Seahawks, led by rookie quarterback Russell Wilson, welcomed the Packers to the Pacific Northwest on Monday Night Football in Week 3 of the 2012 season. The tight defensive affair saw Green Bay clinging to a 12-7 lead with 8 seconds to go. The Seahawks were 24 yards away from an unlikely win. They needed a miracle. And the replacement officials, who had been taken over during the NFL officiating strike, handed them that miracle in the form of a terribly botched call. Wilson tossed a Hail Mary to the end zone, which was seemingly picked off by MD Jennings of the Packers. But at the last second, Seahawks receiver Golden Tate also got his hands on the football. Everyone thought Jennings had the pick, but the replacement officials ruled simultaneous possession, resulting in a game-winning touchdown for the Seahawks. Even after reviewing it, the call on the field was somehow upheld. Don't ask us. The NFL finally had enough at that point. After this game, they had no choice but to reach an agreement with league officials, bringing them back in time for Week 4. Holy roller. Raiders fans will always be hurt by the controversial tuck rule game. But remember, you win some and you lose some. Let's go back to Week 2 of the 1978 season, when the Oakland Raiders played host to the San Diego Chargers. Oakland was losing 20-14, and if John Madden's squad didn't get a touchdown on the final play from scrimmage, they would fall to 0-2 on the year. Ken Stabler took the snap, but was quickly surrounded by Chargers pass rushers. As they closed in on him, he desperately threw the ball underhand, and officials ruled it as a fumble. A mad scramble for the loose ball ensued, and one of the most controversial plays in NFL history was born. To this day, there is still debate as to whether or not it was a fumble or a forward pass, as the latter ruling would have resulted in an incomplete pass, thus ending the game. This prompted the league to change the rules regarding an offensive player advancing a fumbled ball forward. Kick 6. The Ravens-Cleveland Browns Week 12 2015 Monday Night Football game should have been a yawn fest. It was a matchup of two non-competitive teams who were way out of the playoff race at that point. But we got an ending that was oh so fitting for a game between two struggling clubs. The Ravens and Browns went back and forth in a high-scoring affair that was knotted at 27 with only 3 seconds to go. Cleveland kicker Travis Coons lined up for a 51 field goal to win it. Seconds later, insanity ensued. Only the Browns could find a way to turn a game-winning field goal attempt into a game-losing return for a touchdown. But hey, we feel for you, Cleveland. But which do you think was the craziest final play in NFL history? Join us in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.